Now, you join me at a tremendously exciting moment. It's into your head. Number 800 and something. Now, 800 and something minus 1 happens many months ago. So don't worry about it. You're not missing. You haven't missed any. There's been nothing into intervening months. Haven't done a fucking thing on this podcast. Since back around, I don't know, January or February or something. Couldn't be arsed. Had no interest in it whatsoever. Had better things to do with my life, because as it turns out, there's more to life than talking shite into a microphone. I'm talking shite into a microphone now. I could be off mining for gold. I could be off solving the economic situation in outer Mongolia. I could be out. I don't know what else I could be out doing. I could be just out. I suppose I could do this while I'm out. This is, after all, a telephone I'm recording on. And led to understand telephones are now mostly portable, except the home ones. The home ones aren't portable. They're strapped to the house. They're chained to the house, just like housewives used to be. They used to chain them to the kitchen. At least a house telephone in the old days. It could be changed to a different room in the house, which leads me to wonder who the hell operated it. Because if the housewife is chained up in the kitchen and the home phone is chained up in the in the downstairs drawing room perhaps, then how the hell does she get over there when it's ringing? Maybe nobody ever answered it. They certainly never answered it if it was the first ever phone made, because there's nobody to ring it. I suppose you could find another way to ring it. It's a bit like that whole thing where they go, what came first, the chicken or the egg? The telephone came first, just as the egg came first. And what laid the egg was exactly one tiny evolutionary step away from becoming a chicken. So that's how that works. So maybe it's the same with the housewives and the non-portable telephones. I don't know. I'm not really sure exactly how to apply that analogy there, but you'll figure it out yourselves. I'm a bit out of practice at this, so don't worry if I get a bit flustered. I haven't done a podcast since earlier this year. This year being 2016, assuming I ever put this out. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, hello and welcome to the show. I know what you're thinking there. You're thinking, he's probably got nothing to say. He's out of practice. It's been months since he did this, and even when he used to do this on a regular and frequent basis, he still had nothing to say back then. So it's probably just going to be the same old. He'll probably start off on the two cats walking to a bar story any minute now. Two cats walk into a bar. One of the cats goes straight up to the genius bar and says, "Hello, are you the genius?" And the man behind the bar says, "Indeed I am. What can I get you?" And the cat says, you can get me a Samsung Galaxy S6, please." And the man behind the bar says, "This is an Apple store, sir. We don't sell them." The cat says, "I wasn't looking to buy one. If I was looking to buy one, I'd go to the sales counter, not the genius counter. If I remember rightly, I've never been in an American style Apple store before, but my understanding is that the genius counter is for when you have a problem with your existing telephone. My telephone certainly exists, and I have a problem with it in that when I pick it up and dial the number for this pub and ask for a pint, you don't just bring it to my house. You say you have to come down here and get it. So can you have a look at my phone, please, and fix it so that it works properly?" And the man behind the bar says, "Oh, that's hilarious. Have you been in these stories before?" And the cat in front of the bar says, "I don't know what you mean by that, sir. I don't know what you mean by that. And if I had my harmonica on me, I'd burst into song now to end the story." And the man behind the bar says, You will not. You have to have a busking license to do that in front of my bar." or else be part of the booking for the night for our bar, and certainly not booking a cat who can't figure out how a Genius bar works. Anything that, and then the cat says, well, surely to Christ, the whole idea with a Genius bar is that if everybody else understood how the Genius bar works, you'd be out of business. The whole point of a Genius bar is that you know stuff that your customers don't, and if your customers don't know it, then you can make money out of them. If your customers are already geniuses just like you, then you're selling coals to Newcastle. I don't know if you have that phrase abroad. We don't even have it in Ireland. It's an English phrase or a Welsh one or something. Can you tell people you're trying to sell coals to Newcastle? It's a bit like bringing ice to the Eskimos. It's a bit like bringing burgers to Burger King, except in this case, if you bought them proper burgers, or ones that actually look like the ones on the commercials, then you'd be doing them a favour there. Well, not necessarily a favour. You might be ruining their business if you showed their customers what their food was supposed to look like. I don't know. Not that I have any problem with Burger King, except I prefer McDonald's myself at the moment, because the McDonald's I pass through in Dublin on a semi-regular basis now, it has a self-service setup. You go straight in, you tap your order into a giant screen, and then you don't have to talk to anyone. You just go up and wait with your ticket, and when they call your number, you come up and take your food. Now, when I say you don't have to talk to anyone, I being a polite person, I do have to talk to anyone. I have to say thank you. Yes, that's me. Thank you. But if the cat in this story that I forgot we were in the middle of went into a McDonald's bar place, self-service. Actually, now that I think of it, the cat probably wouldn't be able to operate the thing. Some touch screens can be operated by cats and some can't. But even if they could operate the touch screen, they have a weird tall touch screen menu system in McDonald's. You see, it goes from floor right up to face level. You'd have to be able to cover the whole gauntlet of the whole thing. If you wanted something from the top, he'd have to tap up the top, and if you wanted something from low down, he'd have to tap down, low down, down there. And if he was on his way up to get to the top, he might accidentally tap stuff in the middle that he didn't intend to tap. I certainly had that problem on my last visit, but it was through my own fault. I think I did something like going into the single items menu instead of the meal items menu, but don't be blaming that on the fictional cat in my story. No, it's nothing to do with him, anyway, and a great night was had by all. I've always been a great believer in the dictum, ask not what your country can do for you, ask instead a less obvious question. Ask what my country can do for you, because it's not yours. It's not all yours. You've been spending too much time listening to that song. I know that song that goes, "This land is your land. This land is our land." Well, it can't be both. Unless you're living in some sort of a communist commune where everybody owns all of the land. I don't think you have that. Unless maybe you think you Americans have some sort of complicated system for where you're allowed to graze on government land or something like that. But that's not the same thing. You're not a communist country, and you're unlikely to become a communist country at least until December of this year, when there may well be regime change. I understand you're having an election over there. You're going to elect the president. You've decided we're finished with this one. He's used up. We've used 8 years of him. We're going to flush him down the jacks like a disposable president. You have disposable presidents over there. You just shove them down the jacks. That's all you do. Then you say, we still call him a president when he's retired, of course. You'll still say, look, there's President Reagan. Not only did we flush him down the jacks at the end of his presidency, later on he died and we buried him, but we still call him President Reagan, because it's all words are more important, you know. You have to call things by their name and say, feck, where am I going with this? I don't know. Anyway, suffice to say, this segment is going nowhere. This segment is going nowhere, although I am recording it on my brand new phone, which replaced my brand new old phone, which got lost. Thank Christ for insurance, is all I can say. I insured my old phone, and then I got this one when I lost it. I said, hello, insurance people, I've lost my phone. I believe I've been paying you every month in case of a rainy day, and such a rainy day has arrived, so give me my phone. And they said, certainly, sir, I will process your claim, and within 2 weeks I will get back to you and say, and then we'll try and sell you a more expensive one for an extra €100. And I'll say, are you trying to sell me something? And they'll go all indignant, and they'll say, well, most certainly am not, sir. I'm just trying to set you up with a better phone than the one you have. And I'll say, yes, you are trying to sell me something, bitch, you big bitch, you. By the way, you did say my claim is being approved, so I can call you whatever I like now, and it won't matter. And she said, oh, she didn't say anything because I didn't say that part out loud. I don't go around calling people bitches to their faces, for Christ's sake. It's very sad that you would automatically assume that was a real story. The part about losing my phone and getting a replacement on insurance is, but oh no, the part about me calling a woman a bitch, even though she deserved to be called it, I didn't do that. No, I just mumbled it to myself after I put down the phone. It wasn't even my phone I was talking to her on. I was talking to her on a borrowed phone because I was on borrowed time while I was waiting for my new telephone to come. And then it came. I believe it came last Monday, if I remember rightly. What day is it now? It's probably, it's Thursday. It's Thursday, the 1st of September. Thursday, the 1st of... Remember the 1st of November. Is that a poem of any relevance here? Probably not. There is a song, though. Wake me up when September ends. Wake me up when September ends. Something. They all go mad on Twitter quoting it on the 30th of September. At which point September will be still ongoing, so they'll be inaccurate. It'll be as inaccurate as be damned. Then there's another song. Something from May to December. Something from May to December. It was the theme tune for a BBC One television situation comedy. I believe it was called May to December. Back in the 1990s, it was probably a song long before that. They don't go making up songs like that just for sitcoms. I don't think so anyway, do they? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. There was another one that went, no income tax, no VAT, no money back, no royalties, black and white, rich or poor, we'll cut prices at a stroke. Something, Hooky Street. Something. I really wish I was upstairs with my harmonica, as this isn't really sounding right at all. It's not right. I don't normally sing on my podcast without an accompanying harmonica. To complete the... Anyway, let's call this a pilot comeback, shall we? It says so we won't put any pressure on ourselves. Wouldn't want to put any pressure on me as to the output. Wouldn't want to put any pressure on you, the listener, as to how much you enjoy it. Feel free to not enjoy this at all. It's a pilot comeback. It's a bit like when they make a pilot episode of a television show. Half the time it never even gets broadcast. They'll say, we'll make a pilot of this television program. We'll pretend it's a program, and then we'll see what it looks like when we take it out when we put it in the can, and then take it out of the tin and watch it. We'll have a look and see what it looks like, and then we'll say either it's a load of crap, it's irredeemable, or else they'll say, if we change that actor out and got someone else, it might work. Or else they'll say, it's absolutely fucking fantastic. Whoever found it necessary to finance a pilot of this instead of putting it straight on the air for a full 28 episodes now needs to be fired. That's the problem with pilots. never ends well, unless of course you're a professional pilot on an aeroplane. That's usually the vast majority of actions by pilots end in a safe landing for all involved. So probably the aviation system, I suppose you could argue, was a lot safer than the TV production industry. But why would you compare the two? That's not comparing like with like. That's not comparing apples with. Although now that you mention it, there was a fella who used to be the drive time DJ on national radio here. He went off to become an airline pilot. If you bother to say hello to him on Twitter, he straight away blocks you. He wants nothing to do with his past, wants nothing to do with anyone. He's ashamed of us all now. He's like, oh yes, I used to be in the media, now I'm a pilot. These people are not with me. I don't want anything to do with them. And they're great how some people get. Anyway, on with the show. Now, I know what you're thinking there. You're thinking, he hasn't got round to explaining where in the name of Christ he's been since the last episode. I haven't been anywhere. I've been right here in my home, doing the same things I always do, almost the same things I always do. I've been doing everything that I normally do except making podcasts. I've been listening to podcasts, all right. I listen to 85 podcasts every day without fail. So I've been doing my bit. No, I just haven't been creating any of them. I haven't created a podcast in nigh on however long it is. It's probably March or something, was it? I know I made one when David Bowie died, and then I made one more shortly after that, and that was it. Don't rest assured it was nothing to do with all the dead people that have been occurring this year. David Bowie died, and then a couple of English comedians who you people wouldn't have heard of died, and then Prince died, and then who else? Someone else died. Lots of people died. I was seeing tons of them. They can barely dig graves quick enough for them, although David Bowie, to his credit, wasn't he cremated and spread somewhere, and then half of them got so skinny by the time they died that they didn't take up much space. Although thanks to bureaucracy, you still have to put them in a separate box. But that's not their fault. Blame bureaucracy for that. Or else blame nobody and just keep your mouth shut in the interest of diplomacy and keeping the peace. Because it's not really the sort of thing people should be complaining about in a civilized society. It's a bit like complaining when Princess What's-Her-Face in England died in that car crash. Everyone started complaining that all those flowers being put out in front of her house were a dreadful waste. All those flowers had their lives cut short in their prime. They could have bloomed for at least another 2 weeks and enjoyed the rest of their lives. But no, they were snipped down and left to rot in front of her palace. All just so the people of England could show some solidarity with their dead. Their dead, what princess? Technically she wasn't a princess at the time, as she had divorced, if I remember rightly. Does she still have the title? I don't know. They did some trick with her title though. Got something in the letterbox. You must have a look at that. No, it's not. It's something falling. Somebody knocked something off the hall floor. It was probably a cat. I don't know which cat. I don't mean somebody knocked a cat off the hall floor. I mean a cat probably knocked something off the whole table, as often happens here. The solution, of course, is to not leave stuff on tables. Tables are not for putting things on. Tables are for eating off, in which case you don't even put the food on the table in that instance. You put it on the plate and you eat off the plate. And then the minute you stop eating, the minute you put you shove the last spoonful of food into your gob, that's when you remove the the dinner plate from the table and you put her on the ground for the cats to lick clean, and then you watch the rest of wherever it is you're watching. Probably last week tonight with John Oliver, or whoever my wife wants to watch, some stupid crap. Possibly, or else something we both like, as that's usually a good idea. If you're ever living with someone who insists on watching the same television set as you, it's a good idea to have programs that you both like, that you can watch at the same time. As programs like, for example, let's see, what's that one? You know the one with the Sheffery in it. Not Jeffrey, Sheffery. Not to be confused with your man. That's a bit of an obscure reference, so I won't even bother with that. There's a fella in a podcast who used to be called Sheffery. Anyway, on with the show. What's next on the agenda? That's the question. What's next on the agenda? Well, nothing, to be perfectly honest. Make this crap up as I go along. I didn't even know that at this point I was going to mention there being an agenda, which there isn't. So it's increasingly, the odds of me having mentioned that there's an agenda seem minutely small when you bear in mind that there isn't an agenda and that I knew damn well there wasn't one. It's about as chances of that are happening. In fact, that means what just happened where I asked what's next on the agenda when I knew damn well there's no agenda and never has been. The odds of that happening must be tiny. I should have placed a bet on that down in the bookies. Probably would have got 8 million to 1. That means 8 million to 1, if I understand correctly, means you spend a penny and then you get 8 million euros. Or is it 8 million times a penny? Maybe it is. So you'd probably spend a pound then. So you'd be they wouldn't want you spending a penny anyway. That's an anachronism for going to the toilet and putting a penny in the slot. Not that you can do that anymore. Even our shitty local public lavatory charges 30 cents to get in, and if you don't happen to have a 10, you have to put 2 20s and you end up spending 40. So no, there's no danger of spending a penny being confused with going to the toilet anymore. But no, you'd probably spend a pound on a bet like that. And so what did I say? 8 million odds. Yes, you get 8 million. He'd win 8 million pounds. Isn't that right? Although, since I was the subject of the bet, they probably wouldn't have let me do that. But I'm sure there's some way around that that can be done without committing betting fraud, which is something I would not like to do. I would not like to commit betting fraud, because for one thing, you're not allowed. You're not allowed to do that. It's against the law, and for another thing, it's wrong. It's morally wrong. My will be on my conscience for the rest of my life. I'd be worrying about I'd be worrying about everything, and then I'd have to probably never be able to podcast again then. He wouldn't hear from me for another 8 years because I'd be in jail. And I'll tell you one thing, I wouldn't be posting Twitter updates from jail saying, sorry I haven't made a podcast in a while, it's just that I'm a bit locked up at the moment. No, I don't think they'd even let you do that. Although maybe they'd let me write letters to each and every one of you. You'd have to send me your addresses first, and then I'd have to say, hello, would you mind if I post a letter to this fella on the outside? Who is he? I don't know. He listens to my podcast. Not anymore, he doesn't. You don't have a podcast. You're locked up in here with us. Ha 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 ha. And I'll say, fuck you, you screw. I don't have to listen to this crap. And then he'll say, no, you can't correspond in writing with that fella. And then that'll be the end of that. There's just no point trying anything anymore in this world, because everything just goes wrong. You can't do, everything goes to hell in a handbasket, just like the whole world is at the moment. We have ISIS going around with their head chopping instruments, and then we have the climate going around with its snow melting equipment, and then we have, what else have we got? Oh yes, everybody's having mass gunnings and shootings, and everyone else is going on strike. Dublin Bus is going on strike soon. Who else? Lots of other stuff. Everything's gone to shit. That's the problem with this world. If you wanted me to sum up the problem with this world in one sentence, I'd say everything's gone to shit. Although I'd have to adjust that sentence, because if I was restricted to the one sentence and I just said everything's gone to shit, I'd have to be more specific. I'd have to say everything in the world is gone to shit, and then people will say that sentence doesn't cover it, as if it's gone to shit you have to tell me where it came from. Obviously the obvious answer would be the earth, but that's not going to make sense. Everything in the world has gone from the earth to shit, because no, it's not going to a place called shit. It's going metaphorically to a state of shit. The world is already in shit, but it didn't travel there. Although I suppose you could argue that it travelled there. You could argue that when the Earth gets to a certain point in its orbit around the sun, that's when all the shit happens. So then it's in shit, just like it being in. Oh yes, it could be in a shit cycle. Well, if that's the case, then the shit cycle should only happen for a couple of weeks every year, shouldn't it? And then we can go back to normal. But that doesn't seem to be what's happened. So maybe the shit cycle has grown to envelop our entire orbit. And then I can tell you, if that's the case, we have a problem. Anyway, good morning.
Into your head.